Here to help us and to update us, Newsmax correspondent Grace Frank from Paris. Grace, what can you add to the situation as it continues to unfold?
Well, in terms of what's happening, it's absolute chaos. And the feeling here, what I can add most and beyond the facts, is that the feeling of fear, of upsetment and shock that was the original reaction to the Wednesday's first assault, the attack on Charlie Hebdo, has turned really into fear for the safety of the French Republic, the integrity of the French Republic. People are now talking of, someone I actually talked to today had mentioned the words of a civil war almost coming about between the Muslim and the non-Muslim French populations, and a real fear that the society itself is almost coming apart at the seams. And that is the popular opinion is going toward the fact that this is becoming almost a Muslim versus non-Muslim sort of a war going on, or feelings that a war can happen. Yes.
Grace, correct me if I'm wrong, but one political leader in France was quoted as saying that in the wake of this second incident today, this has almost become the French 9/11, if you will. Is that a remark
Yes.
that's somehow on target?
I think it's very much on target. From the beginning, the reaction that the French expressed, the way it gripped the entire nation, and the sense of real sadness at the killings of the journalists at Charlie Hebdo. It was a sadness that in many ways, to me as someone who was in New York in 4th September 2001, that same resonance of the sadness and then the horror of what had happened. This was, for the French, something that hurt the country. These journalists were more iconic figures and very much beloved, and satire is very much a beloved form of French expression. And so this was an attack on an institution for them, not just attack on a journalistic office.
And of course, following that initial attack, Grace, we saw public protests and marches, but it
Yes.
sounds as if, at least by what you're telling us today, that spirit of protest, even positive protest, may be giving way to panic and frustration. Is that accurate?
In my opinion, there's that element there. Yes, there is this is an element that has come up today with the assaults today, the horrors of today, where you have hostage taking at two different parts of France, in Paris and north of Paris, and the possible killing of some of the hostages. That has really divided the society much more, and we're as people fearful that further division is coming, that this might come into the expression. As one of my neighbors, I was talking to a neighbor today, and he mentioned for him that it was very symbolic that it was a kosher market that was taken over, that almost as if the assailants are wanting to further a division between non-Muslim Judeo-Christian France and the Muslim element, the Muslim population, and cause a further disruption and a further shattering of the population. And with the rally that's planned for Sunday, Le Pen refusing saying she wasn't invited, which she wasn't, and that was a political mistake on Hollande's part. But Le Pen further politicized it by saying she won't take part in it. This was meant to be a rally. It was called the Rally of the Republic, which is the French way of saying the nation united.
And when we come back, Grace, you have been very generous with your time. We have to step aside for a second, but we will go more in depth about that national unity rally and how it can really be a unity rally if some segments of the political discussion are not invited. Has that changed? We'll talk more with Grace Frank from Paris as America's Forum continues.